Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on where you are right now. We would love to welcome you all to our Africa and Middle East Community Day. And indeed, it's very inspiring to have you all with us today to celebrate together the success of our community, celebrate all member contributions, and explore new ways to protect the internet so it remains a force for good in Africa and the Middle East. My name is Ahmed El-Masry, Internet Society alumni and Egypt chapter member. I will be your co-host today, along with my colleague Ida, our fellow alumni and Ghana chapter member. But before we start, we would love to ask you if we have more alumni with us today on the call. Can you please raise your hands? Wow. Okay. So yeah, we have Abdulrahman. More people? Okay, great. Before we start, I would love to notify you that this call is being recorded, and I would love to ask you to try as much as possible to stick to the housekeeping rules so that we can have a nice discussions. And now with Ida.
Thank you, Ahmed. It is exciting to see members from all the various chapters and communities join today's Africa and Middle East Community Day event. Today, we will talk about the accomplishments, opportunities, and threats in our various chapters. Our Africa and Middle East Community Day will start with an overview and opening remarks from Internet Society CEO Andrew Sullivan. Next, we will have a keynote address from the country manager of MainOne in Ghana, Emmanuel Kwarteng. After this, we'll move to a thrilling and educative moderated roundtable discussion with experts and community advocates from Africa and the Middle East region. We'll discuss solutions to outages, disruptions, and other challenges these two regions encounter. We will also explore the opportunities to grow, protect the internet, and improve its resilience in these regions. We'll end the event with a time to act round, during which we will share concrete actions that we can all take to improve internet resilience and advocate to protect the open global internet for everyone. If you'd like to stay a little longer, of which I'd advise you should, there will be a unique opportunity afterwards to meet the Internet Society Board of Trustees and participate in an energizing discussion about our 2030 strategy. So now we'll move to our community video. Over to you, Nick.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Joseph, the current president of Hyzon Haiti chapter.
I am Carlos Vera Quintana, a member of the Internet Society at a global level and of the Ecuadorian chapter of this society.
Hello, my name is Nicolas Fiomaretti from the Internet Society Uruguay chapter.
Coucou, je suis Sarkis de l'Internet Society Madagascar chapter.
Hello, my name is Engineer Only Olordare.
Hi everyone, my name is Ida Padikuor Na-Tei from the Internet Society Ghana chapter.
Hi, I'm Maro Adib من ISOC Lebanon chapter.
Hi, I am Abdurrahman Abu Talib from the Internet Society Yemen chapter. I joined ISIC because I believe in its mission to promote an open, secure, trustworthy, and accessible internet for all.
I am inspired to work with the values and principles of the Internet Society, promote them, and make them a reality.
I'm proud that together we are creating an internet for everyone by advocating for universal access, promoting digital literacy fostering innovation and ensuring a safe and secure online environment.
I was seeking for advocacy and to align with my ideas regarding the internet security enhancement and how the multi-stakeholder model works.
Ce qui m'a inspiré à rejoindre ISOC. Déjà, ISOC fait un travail remarquable sur le plan national, régional ou mondial. Sa renommée ne passe pas du tout inaperçue. Donc voilà, ce qui m'a inspiré à rejoindre cette communauté.
Even as we celebrate our Community Day in Africa, I believe so much that we still have a lot to do, and we will definitely contribute more and more.
انضميت لايزوك لبنان شابتر بسياق My Masters in Web Science and Digital Economy، ولا دور ايزوك الفعال بصناعة السياسات المتعلقة بالتكنولوجيا والإنترنت حول العالم.
I'm proud that together we are creating an internet for everyone by ensuring that the internet is safe, open, and secure for all.
That was a refreshing video, seeing the feedback from all the community members. So without wasting much time, I'll now hand over to the Internet Society CEO, Andrew Sullivan, for the opening remarks. Thank you, Andrew, and welcome.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me to this Community Day. I do have to apologize in advance in the event I have a sudden glitch. Apparently the internet is not working perfectly here in Toronto, and my main provider keeps winking out, and so my backup picks up. But when that happens, naturally, you'll get a little blip. So my apologies in advance if that happens. I wanted to just say a few things to kick this off, because really, nobody wants to hear me go on and on and on. The main point of this is to focus on our community. And the reason we focus on our community is because that's how the internet is built. It's super important to keep this in mind in this age, when people have taken a fairly dim view of the internet. We seem to have somebody on the line. So many people have started to regard the internet as, a negative thing, a thing that is the source of many of the problems that face the world today, many of the social problems that people talk about. When I joined the internet a million years ago, if people knew what the internet was, they would always say that they wanted a connection to the internet. And now we find people, weirdly, they go on the internet in order to say that the internet should be shut down, which I think shows us exactly why we can't afford to do this. And so what we're faced with now is an absolutely critical period in which community is more important than ever, to remind people that the way the internet works is through community, is through voluntary interoperation by the individual networks that make up the internet. And the Internet Society is made up the same way, that we have these various chapters that come together to work together according to their local needs, according to their local priorities, and yet at the same time, all working together to produce a global society that allows us to promote and build the internet together. That is the critical thing that we all have to do now. And it's more important today than it's ever been. And the reason it's more important is because people are trying to take the internet from us. There are governments who want to stop the internet, who want to shut it down, who want to control it, who want to keep it in
Andrew is experiencing internet issues.
Andrew, can you hear us?
the idea that the internet is for everyone. Thank you so much.
We are sorry, but we lost you for a bit.
Exactly what I was worried would happen. Rather than the last 30 seconds or so, I'll just say that what is really critical is recommitting ourselves to this basic idea that the internet, the global internet, is for everyone. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to today's events.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for your intervention. And now I would love to welcome Emmanuel Kwarteng, Country Manager at MainOne, Ghana, and a longtime supporter of the Internet Society's mission. Emmanuel, please, floor is yours.
Thank you, Ahmed. And thank you, Isaac, for inviting me to give these keynotes. So basically, I've been invited to give a keynote on uninterrupted internet, building a resilient internet in Africa and the Middle East. The internet has been an indispensable part of our lives, facilitating communication, commerce, education, and governance. However, the reliability of internet infrastructure varies significantly across different regions of the world. Africa and Middle East face unique challenges in maintaining uninterrupted internet access due to factors such as underdeveloped infrastructure, limited investment, geopolitical instability, etc. This keynote examines the current state of internet resilience in these regions, identifies the primary obstacles, and proposes some strategies that we could use to build a more robust and reliable internet infrastructure. I know that subsequently today, there'll be discussions as well that will go deeper, and people will look at the ways in which we can go around this to make it even better going forward, of course, working together with the things of ISOC. Current state of the internet resilience. Internet resilience basically refers to ability of a network to maintain an acceptable SLA or acceptable level of service in the face of faults and challenges to normal operation. In Africa and the Middle East, internet resilience is often compromised by a couple of factors. One will be underdeveloped infrastructure and technical failures. Many countries in our region lack comprehensive and modern telecommunication infrastructure. Rural areas are often underserved, resulting in significant urban-rural digital divide. Inadequate infrastructure can lead to frequent outages and slow internet speeds. Sometimes fiber cuts, power outages, and hardware malfunctions are all common occurrences that disrupt the internet. Events such as earthquakes, floods, and extreme weather conditions can also damage physical infrastructure, leading to prolonged internet outages. The ability to quickly repair and restore internet services is often limited due to the logistical challenge that sometimes comes with this, especially when depending on where the location of the outages. Recently, we've had our own fair share of experience with the outages of the submarine cable, and because of the nature of that cables, it normally takes a long time for us to get them repaired. Limited investment. I mean, both foreign and domestic investments in telecommunication infrastructure are often insufficient. Economic constraints coupled with perception of high risk deter potential investors from committing to large-scale projects necessary to improving our internet resilience in our part of the world. Political conflicts, wars, and social unrest can lead to intentional internet shutdowns by governments aiming to control information flow. These shutdowns disrupt communication and economic activities, highlighting the vulnerability of internet infrastructure to political decisions. We've had a couple of these also in our region. Building a resilient internet in Africa and the Middle East requires addressing several key obstacles. The first I would like to talk about will be a regulatory environment. A conducive regulatory environment is essential for encouraging investment and ensuring fair competition. Inconsistent or overly restrictive regulatory regulations can stifle innovation and hinder development of resilient internet infrastructure. Then we talk about funding and investment. Securing adequate funding is also a primary
Emmanuel, I think we lost you as well. Emmanuel, can you hear us?
There is network issue with Emmanuel.
Emmanuel?
Okay. So I think whilst we wait, we could do a round of introductions in the chat box. I see some people are trying to network with other people. So you can put your name and your chapter and see how you can connect with other people from your region. I think we can give him a few minutes to see if he reconnects.
I think that was a baby eye sock. Or eye sock baby chapter.
That's ISOC's next generation there. Adebumi, was that you speaking? Somebody seems to be sharing screen.
I came off for the record. I came off for the record. That's not me, but I think they're trying to share to keep us up.
Okay, so I think we can
shut some people. You need to shut some people so that I think someone is interfering with our process.
Okay, so I think we lost Emmanuel, but it's quite unfortunate that even as we are having these discussions, we are still experiencing internet interruptions, but I'm hoping that he can reconnect. So we'll move on with the next agenda for today. And we all know that in the past year, there has been many big wins and accomplishments. And it's now time for us to celebrate all that has happened in our various communities. So now I'll ask Victor Mdunan and Hannah Sabak, Community Engagement Managers for Africa and Middle East, to tell us about our community achievements. Hannah and Victor, over to you.
Thank you, Ida, and hello, everyone. I'm so happy to join you from Egypt, where the chapter is celebrating Community Day with us. And I have right next to me in the room, Dr. Nashwa Abdelbaqi, who was the first one to secure the connection of Egypt to the global internet in October 1993. 90 minutes will definitely not be sufficient to cover the extraordinary achievements of our dedicated chapters and members, especially that the community on this call represents almost 40% of Internet Society chapters and members, as we have 35 chapters in Africa, 6 chapters in the Middle East, and a total of 51,000 members from both regions. We cannot forget the support of our organization members too. This support from the organization members is crucial to the Internet Society sustainable work with the community. We will try to honor your work as much as possible in these 90 minutes and highlight few impactful projects that changed lives. Can I ask Sarah to start the PowerPoint, please? Participants from these chapters, please raise your hands when you hear your chapter name. Sudan chapter. Sudan Internet Society has been managing the .sd since 2003. When the conflict started in 2023, the chapter, with some support, made a full system backup and created another system hosted outside Sudan. 10 days before the whole old system collapsed, by doing that, they managed to keep the online services of banks, telecoms, and government critical services working. The same situation happened in Lebanon during the economic crisis, and the chapter followed the same steps as Sudan and managed to save the .ld. I'm sorry, I will stop for a second. Sarah, I guess you were unable to share the presentation, but that's fine. I will continue with the achievements of our chapters. Rwanda chapter implemented connectivity labs in 4 schools in rural areas. These labs became hubs for digital skills trainings and allowed the village to access the internet. Before, these communities had to make an hour trip to connect to the internet. Madagascar's chapter successfully implemented a project on building cyber resilience in Madagascar. The project aims to strengthen the internet by conducting a study to assess the current state of young individuals facing online crime and giving awareness sessions across the country. Mali chapter developed a digital women's skills platform. This project aims to engage members of women's associations from 4 communities in Mali in the productive use of digital technology. The project facilitates the inclusion of young girls and women absent from the internet. It strengthens their business capacity and addresses the peace process and violent extremism. Kenya chapter implemented the community network, Dunya Moja Network. This project aimed to connect underserved communities in Kilifi County to enable them access to government services, educational resources, and opportunities for business engagements. Benin chapter implemented Benin IXP, a project that aims to strengthen the Benin IX to ensure the IXP's long-term viability. Ghana also have a say on IXP role in protecting the internet, and we will hear more about it during the roundtable. Zimbabwe chapter, in collaboration with Internet Society Learning Team, trained 78 tutors on designing and deploying computer networks. And these 78 tutors trained 1,675 students so far, and the project is still going on. Almost all these projects were supported by Internet Society Foundation. This obviously is not all what our chapters did. Chapters engage with more activities such as conferences, webinars. I'm very sorry, if we played the presentation, we would have seen the achievements and pictures from different chapters. It seems there is an issue with the presentation. However, we would like the members to share in the chat more successful stories from their chapters and use the hashtag ISOC Day and the hashtag MyRegionConnects to share these stories on social media. And now I pass it over to you, Victor. Victor?
Yes, Anna.
Because of this, we were unable to show the crowd here in Egypt, Victor. We were preventing this.
Donna, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I don't know if they can hear me or not.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, Victor.
If you can hear me, I'm here in Rwanda with our great community of the Internet Society Rwanda chapter. We just concluded our live event here, the local event with the community that you can see here with me today. And we are now listening to you from here, Kibongo, Group Scolaire Kibongo, where the Internet Society Rwanda chapter set up an Internet Access Center. So I pass the microphone back to you, Anna, and I can join you again later. I don't know if you can. Can you hear me? Can you? Oh, are you on?
Yes. I can hear you, Victor.
They can hear. Okay.
Yes.
Now they can hear you. You can talk.
Okay, good to. Thank you again, Ahmed, for giving me the floor. I'm sorry for the technical issue. We are joining you live here from Kibongo High School, where the Internet Society Rwanda chapter set up an Internet Access Center. Because of technical issue, I can't move I can't move around to the room. We are here outside the school, where we have been having a local event where the chapter has been recognizing his own local community members and partners. So thank you again for giving us the floor. And Emmanuel is here, the chair of the Rwanda chapter, with me too. Maybe Emmanuel wants to say a few words.
Thank you, Victor. Hi, everybody. My name is Emmanuel Kwarteng. I'm the chair of the Internet Society Rwanda chapter. We are so grateful for the support that we've got from Internet Society, that foundation that has allowed us to build the Kibongo Internet Access Center. The center is now available and is serving the community. Children are studying ICT using computers, and the community is also accessing internet because of this support. And we are also conducting local trainings to ensure that the community technology is moving onward to even the local people who are in this community. So we are so grateful for the community, and we thank you so all for the support that we've got from this community. Thank you, Victor.
So on that, I will now introduce our next session, the roundtable, that will be discussing the issue of internet shutdowns and interruption in the Africa and Middle East. So without further ado, I will pass the microphone to our board of trustee members, Caleb and Olufunke, to introduce the session and the panelists. So thank you again.
Thank you very much, Victor, and thank you everyone for tuning in and for participating in this very important community celebration for the entire Africa and Middle East communities that we all serve. With me on moderating this panel today is my colleague from the ISOC Board of Trustees, Olufunke Barua, and she will be also joining me. So Funke, can you please introduce yourself? My name is Caleb Ogundele. Hello, Funke.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on what part of the world you're joining us from. My name is Funke Barua, and I'm a member and I'm a trustee of the Internet Society and Internet Society Foundation. I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Caleb.
Yes, thank you very much. And so we want to continue with this roundtable discussion, and we have some very, very, very important persons who will be joining us on this panel. They are very important set of people in their own right who have a clear understanding of what it is to have a resilient internet in their communities. And one of the things that has sparked interest in our conversation today is how we celebrate communities to showcase what they do on how they defend the internet and how they propagate the good gospel of the internet throughout their communities. Like the saying goes, it takes, we are divided by physical boundaries, given that we can't reach each other at a very short distance, but we are all borderlessly connected by the internet infrastructures that powers the internet. And so we need to continue to defend that internet that we so much care about, that serves us and serves our community. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you our roundtable panel for the day, panelists for the day, which includes the person of Abraham Selby, Jack Bakhev, Abdurrahman Abdutaleb, Isabel Odida, and Obina Adomike. Please, if you're on the call, could you just quickly just do a 30-minute introduction of your, 30-second introduction of yourself each?
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. My name is Abraham Fifi Mensah Selby. I am from Internet Society, Ghana chapter, Chair Communications and Programs Committee. I'm from Ghana. I've been advocating for internet and serving within the Internet Society. I'm ISOC Youth Ambassador, alumni now, and I love to work around internet and volunteer. And I'm happy to see most of my colleagues, alumni fellows, and everyone who's working together to protect internet, and most of other affiliates here. Thank you very much. And I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Jack.
Yes, so I'm Jack from Lebanon chapter. I'm acting as a chapter secretary in Lebanon chapter, and I'm also a member of the ISOC chapter advisory council, and I'm in the steering committee of that council. Thank you.
Over to you, Abdurrahman.
Yes, thank you, Caleb. I am Abdurrahman Abu Talib from Yemen. I am from the Internet Society Yemen chapter. I was the former vice president. I'm Ahmed Fellow for cohort 2023. I'm currently now the editor-in-chief for Yemen Science Network. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Isabel.
Hi, everybody. My name is Isabel, and I am an ISOC Uganda chapter fellow. I'm also an IETF as well as AFPIF fellow for, did I say fellow for the chapter? Sorry. I am a Ugandan, I'm the Uganda ISOC chapter member, as well as an IETF and AFPIF fellow for ISOC. And I am happy that we're here to discuss, happy that we're here to discuss the challenges and the growth that we have had so far within Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So without further ado, we would like to jump to the real crux of the issue that we have today. So all our panelists, I just have a very simple question for you. How, in just 1-2 minutes, can you just tell us how resilient is the internet in your own country? Starting with Selby.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Caleb, for asking that question. And internet has become part of us in our everyday lives, just like the food and water that we take in. And we cannot do away with internet in Africa and in Ghana. Looking at the internet resilience in Ghana, it has been improving day to day out. Where we look at into the undersea cable disruption, then we realize that people did not get cut away from internet completely. And Victor, stop sharing. Okay, all right, thank you. So looking at the proactive measures that is being done by the Internet Society, like we realize that there has been communication between the civil society and between the government and other stakeholders. And internet resilience in Ghana is still improving. We have not gotten to the maximum effort yet. We've gotten to a point of thinking about the redundancy connections where NCA has been able to direct all network operators and the telecommunication providers to establish and maintain a very good connectivity. And also there is an emergency preparedness whereby we have done in terms of our internet in Ghana. I quite remember Internet Society Ghana chapter partner NetHope to do some trainings, and these are also kind of improving. We also have the cable operation licenses being issued by NCA. So the NCA, the National Communication Authority in Ghana, which oversees our communication aspect in terms of telecommunication, media, then other aspects related to internet in Ghana. And under the Ministry of Communication, there has been a lot of development. The Internet Society Ghana Chapter 2 has been a very good platform for people to discuss internet issues and people to show concern about. So the internet, if you are talking about the internet resilience in Ghana, what I would say is that we have not gotten the maximum effort yet, but we are still improving, because during the outages, that also develop another interest for people to know that there is more we need to do, but we were not cut off completely, that nobody could access. People find alternative ways to connect through the internet. So this is what I'm going to say about that. And I'm open for further comments on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. I'd like to just ask Jack, what do you think about it as well?
Yes. Lebanon is in difficult times, and we are in an economic crisis since 1912. So the internet is holding, and but it is always challenged and under threat. I think that if we describe the situation in Lebanon about the internet, we have the minimum of the minimum. We have something working, but it is the minimum. And for now, we have two challenges. The first challenge is the electricity. I don't know if you in other parts of the world can understand this, but we don't have the electricity company, the national electricity company is not providing, is not able to provide electricity 24 hours a day. So we have always cuts, and for that, some parts of the country can be, let's say, cut from the internet because power outage. So what is being done is that the local communities are working on providing generators and electricity to sustain regular life and internet. And also now we have since October, we have the events going in Gaza, and this is also impacting this south of Lebanon, where maintaining and sustaining the internet infrastructure is becoming difficult. So it is difficult to maintain or to whatever support the telecom and fiber and so in that region. So this is in brief what's happening in Lebanon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so I would like to also bring Jack to also quickly give us in 1 minute what his thought is also on the topic we're discussing. Thank you. Hello, Jack. Are you there?
Yes. So
yeah, over to you.
Come again, please.
Over to you. So the question is, in 1 minute, can you just tell us how resilient is the internet in your country currently at the moment? Situation report.
So I think I said what I should say.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I was mixing that with Abdurrahman. Abdurrahman, over to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Caleb. It's an easy question, hard to be answered, but I'll try to explain the situation in Yemen. The internet resilience generally considered very low the last decade, especially since the beginning of the war. That because of many reasons. For example, the internet infrastructure has been significantly damaged as a result of the ongoing conflict since like 9 or 10 years. The communication infrastructure and internet facilities was targeted and always targeted by bombing and military actions, whether it was the fiber optics or the internet satellite links. Also, we have economic issues that prevent people to or the private sector to invest in this sector in the internet to improve the infrastructure or to improve the facilities. the people, large part of the portion of the people, they have limited or no access to the internet due to economic issues, for the high price of the services comparing to the individual incomes, the average individual incomes in Yemen. Also, we have a limited number of internet service providers. We have 2 companies, and both of them, they belong to the government. And recently we have a new company called Adanet, but it's not a real independent internet service provider. It's kind of distributor for the internet for foreign company located in another country. We have accessible issues. Many rural geographical area, they still disconnected from the internet. But among all of these difficulties, there are some of good initiatives from the civil societies and from the other stakeholders to put a break in improving this sector. We have, like 2 years ago or 3 years, I don't remember exactly, but there was kind of a big conference about the cybersecurity in Yemen, which included most of the stakeholders. They sit together to try to build the first national strategy for the cybersecurity. So we have in a difficult times, but we try to do all stakeholders, they try to do their best. Thank you. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, absolutely. So just because of our time, I will be switching it up a little bit and moving to the next question. So over to you, Isabel. I'd like to get to know what you...
Caleb, you are muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. So now, Isabel, looking at the pairing efforts and internet shutdown in Africa, can you just give us some highlights and maybe speak a little bit on the resiliency of Africa's internet, especially during shutdowns or cable cuts, and maybe give us some good case studies based on some of the work that you've done in the region?
Okay, thank you, Caleb. So I actually honestly thought we were resilient. We've come a long way as Africa, right from when we had the internet first get into the region, and the need for it, from us owning our own resources, to our infrastructure growing, and now then this happens. So I thought we were very resilient until this, the current, the recent cable cuts, and then the different shutdowns that we've had. I am from Uganda originally, and I experienced my first shutdown during one of our elections. And because the government insisted that we must have a shutdown, that was, I mean, it got everybody livid and surprised. We are in an era where now everybody depends on the internet. Everything depends on the internet. And now we're in a situation where now everything is shut down, the internet is shut down, and we now have to think of ways in order to communicate, in order to entertain ourselves, in order to access commercial services, in order to access banking or hospitals through the internet, because now we've evolved in a way that even hospitals can be accessed through e-medicine. And that was very absurd and very sad, because this happened for like a whole week. And then recently we experienced a cable cut. And I thought, okay, I worked for an ISP for over 9 years, and I worked for one of the biggest ISPs in the country. And having worked for the ISP, I knew we had a lot of redundancy until the cable cut happened. And with the cable cuts, yes, even though we had redundancy, most of the routes that we had chosen to use were the same. So all the redundant routes that we had chosen were experiencing the same situation. If I can recall, it took about 5 days of being offline. And because the country has much local content, I'm a peering manager, and I will speak on that front. With peering comes a lot of with advantages of low latency, but then also it comes with interconnection between the networks, the local networks. But because in Uganda, we don't have as much local content, this situation affected us greatly. However, because I worked for a very big ISP with some of the biggest or the best engineers in the country, they thought on their feet, hence redundancy came through. The country got extra connectivity, and hence one of the advantages of peering. And peering kind of helps with low latency. And because now the country was depending on this one provider, the users or the ISP was able to have everybody at least be able to access services easily, because then through peering, which I honestly and fully advocate for, they were able to access services. I think though that we still need a lot of work to be done. I also thought about the costs, and the good thing is that East Africa, if you look at Africa, you look at West Africa where the first cable cuts happened, and then you look at East Africa where then the second cable cuts happened. If you look at the distance between West Africa and East Africa, if they chose to have redundancy in West Africa, it would be very difficult and would be very costly. If we chose to have redundancy within East Africa, it would be a little bit easy because we have the East Coast trying to serve Uganda or trying to serve the area. And you also have the South as well trying to serve Uganda. The advantage is that South Africa has fully developed and we have almost all the CDNs, all the local content in Southern Africa. But we have less of it within East Africa, which I think we need to fully think of and address. And as a peering manager, I feel like I have faced the challenge of some of the operators finding it very difficult to understand the importance of having content local, to the importance of peering. And I hope that this would be a very good wake-up call for all of us.
Thank you very much, Isabel. Now, I will now hand it over to Funke Barua, one of our Board of Trustee members, who is going to take over the moderation of this panel session from here. Thank you very much, and welcome once again, Funke.
Thank you, Caleb, and thanks everyone for those intriguing answers. I would like to move on to Obinna and to hear from you, Obinna, your thoughts around what are the challenges to building internet resilience in Africa? Obinna, over to you. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Funke, and welcome everyone. So I'm from Nigeria, and I'm here as an organizational member, even though I'm also part of the Nigerian ISOC chapter. So looking at Nigeria as a country, first, before we move, of course, I had to talk about my country first before going into the rest of Africa and Middle East. So one of the things I think, just like Isabel said, I've always thought that Nigeria was resilient. I've always thought that we are getting there until I took a critical look at what the internet landscape in Nigeria looked like. We have 8 submarine cables, landing in Nigeria. The most important of them, of course, the WAX, the MainOne cable, and the Huyano, and so on and so forth. Then until we lost 3 within a space of days, suddenly everything went dark. That was when it occurred to everyone that, look, we that stay in Lagos, the commercial capital of Lagos, of Nigeria, and Abuja, the city, the country's capital, have it almost as best as we could get. Then we, at that moment, because I also run kind of an internet exchange point, so we reached out to a couple of people outside of Lagos and Abuja. We went all the way far north of Nigeria, southeast, south of Nigeria, far southwestern part of Nigeria, and realized that there were people who have never, I mean, literally never, ever had access to the internet in Nigeria as big as it is. So it's kind of, it resets the thought process. It resets the thought process. But however, the good thing is that when we look at the reasons why these things are happening, these are problems that could be solved. For example, even though we have multiple access points into Nigeria, of course, multiple submarine cable systems that bring in internet into Nigeria, of course, to Africa also coming in a couple of soon anyways, no, I don't know the date yet, coming from 2 multiple points. We'll still have this internal challenge of connecting the cable landing stations to the inner cities of the country, going towards the north and south and so on and so forth. So going further away from Lagos, the internet begins to depreciate. And we notice that most of the cable systems that connect Lagos to all these other states are marginally controlled by the MNOs because they can afford to actually run those backbone cables to those locations. And because they control it, they also control the costs of getting access or pushing the internet through those cable systems into those distant locations. The smaller ISPs can't afford to do that. However, with the likes of just trying to not advertise, but the likes of 2Africa coming from 2 multiple points, one in Lagos, one in Port Harcourt, and hopefully if other submarine cable providers actually create multiple points of entry into all the other countries that have that capacity to do so. What it means is that central backbone connectivity from the major landing stations, the cost of actually using those infrastructure is drastically eliminated. Then we also looked at other local internet exchange points. Luckily for us in Nigeria, we have IXPN who have been doing fantastically well for a very long time now. They've successfully built multiple POPs all across Nigeria, Abuja, far Kano in the north, southeast, south, and so on and so forth. And then our smaller ISPs can now leverage on their infrastructure to push internet to those locations. And a lot of efforts are going in that direction to push internet to those locations. I wouldn't say that we've gotten there, but how can we solve the challenges of resilience generally as a region, I think it has to do with collaborative efforts. During the submarine cable cuts in Nigeria, I saw people coming in from ISPs from Ghana, from I think that one was from Burkina Faso, who was actually trying to terminate in Nigeria so that they can push traffic inland all the way to these other countries that also experience those cable cuts. So such collaborations, we don't necessarily have to go so far away, but if we understand how our geography, our map is, our geography is, and understand that we can actually collaborate across countries, across regions, across chapters, we can find ways of building internal redundancies beyond what the business people have done. By business is, yes, a submarine cable provider who pushes internet into a country has to bear the business requirements and needs to get that to that point. But we, the actual consumers of that internet, understands that from that point into our country, it is our responsibility to figure out a way of creating redundancies, creating multiple touch points, creating...
Obinna, sorry to cut you short. On that point, I wanted to ask a follow-on question before we do that, to say, in your experience in building and scaling data centers, and I think you touched on that, how do you see their contribution to improving the resilience of the internet in your region, for example?
Of course, data centers are one of the key key elements of growing the internet, mostly, especially in our region, because if you look at West Africa specifically, one of the biggest challenges we have is power supply. I think I listened to, I think it was Jack that was talking about don't having power for 24 hours. We have here where people don't even have power for 2 hours, you know. Since we started this call, my power has gone off like 3 times, you know, and I depend on generators. This is one of the places where data centers come into play. Internet depend on power. Data centers are designed to ensure 24/7 power access. So the more data centers we're able to provide at the cable landing stations, inland and all across the region, we can guarantee that the infrastructure that are sitting in these data centers that connect inter-data center connectivity and so on and so forth continue to run irrespective of what the country's power infrastructure look like. And by extension, data centers also enhance connectivity. You know, the likes of Isabel and all the other great ISPs that do the work of providing internet needs data centers. They can't afford to provide infrastructure, power, still pay for internet services, still run fiber cables and so on and so forth and all that stuff. So that's having that shared infrastructure, a secured infrastructure in the form of a data center where everyone can come together and actually have a lesser cost of having their business sit in the data center helps drastically grow the internet in whatever region or whichever location you talk about.
Thank you very much, Obinna. I would like to come to you, Selby, specifically because Obinna mentioned Ghana and the sort of collaboration that happened when there was a court in the region. So given Ghana's recent internet disruption, that it has of course underscored the critical role of the Ghana Internet Exchange in ensuring internet stability. And we also know that GIS of course plays a vital role in enhancing the efficiency, reliability, and performance of the internet, which ultimately benefits both the service providers and the end users. What, in your opinion, has been the role of Ghana IXP during the latest outreach, taking it from some of the things that Obinna mentioned? Thank you. Over to you, Selby.
Thank you very much for this question. And I think Ghana and Nigeria have similar problems. The power outages is mostly issue in Africa. And one thing that I want to highlight is the communication to users. If in Africa, we enhance the communication to tell our customers or users, internet users, this is the situation, this is what is happening. And I think that I will applaud NCA for that, because we Internet Society issued some statement with even the Togo chapters and to inform our members what the internet outages are. During the internet outages, I didn't feel it because like I was in US and during that time, I was having a team back in Ghana that it was very challenging to communicate with them. So I felt the kind of situation that they were going through. There was a lot of communications from both the ISPs and the regulators. That's the National Communication Authority. They tried as much as possible to give us an update, whatever is working. MainOne issued a report. SAT3 also issued a report. Then WACS also issued a report based on the ongoing and gave some estimated times that this needs to be completed. But during this kind of conversation that Obinna is saying, that we rely on some basic kind of infrastructure in West Africa and in Africa. So whenever we find it out, we are losing some kind of services from this aspect, because we all have one port that we are all picking the same thing from. It becomes very challenging to address that. But the internet service providers, some also did well after that, even after the services have been restored. Some tried as much as possible to even enhance users' connectivity and the cost through that. Some gave back the internet data that users have purchased and lost it. They gave it back to users. And many of the network operators were very happy about it, because people have lost money, people have lost their businesses, people have lost. I quite remember there was a situation whereby someone even lost a job because the person was working remote in a foreign country. And because of the disruption, the person couldn't join meetings and they said the person is not serious. So we've seen some various rules, but that is not the role that we are trying to get the maximum effort. And looking at further upgrades to that, we realized that the NCA and the Ministry of Communication is working very hard. Currently, they gave a license for Starlink operations. And last week too, we've had a conversation about rolling out the 5G network service in that. But the concern that we also have is that there is a, as Obina was saying, there is a very minority people that they are getting some kind of service within specific cities, which means that even people in, let's say, the city, major city like Accra, Kumasi are experiencing internet outages. This is normal to people in the rural areas because they don't even get access to the network. And the internet disruption outages was not only for data, internet data connectivity, it was also for voice over IP networks, whereby people could not even make a call and communicate. And I think that there is more that governments must be able to do with the civil societies and the ISPs to be able to get a very reliable and good resilience for the internet in Ghana. And I think I am very open to support, as ISOC is also promoting working, because currently, yeah, so ISOC is did a GH-NOC training for people within the telecom industry to train them about certain aspects. And currently too, they are training people within the remote areas, underserved areas about it. But we still need to expand the internet for all, the internet for everyone. We still need to expand it to the communities and rural areas, which we can all have an equalized internet in Ghana. But there is more that we need to do, because the reliability being put on one kind of, let's say, submarine cables, if there is a cut, what would be the alternative way? This is the solution that Africa must be able to wake up, to look at that, building capacities, regulatory frameworks, and also making our academic trainings very more resilient for the youth to develop something for Africa. That is a way that we can know that investment is going through our internet. And I am very happy that I'll be able to contribute further to any question.
Thank you very much, Selby. I would like to move to Isabel and following also from what Selby said, with your experience on building technical capacities and helping to create the Uganda Network Operators Group, how do you think a strong technical community can contribute to a resilient internet? Over to you, Isabel. Thank you very much, Selby, for that detailed feedback.
Thank you very much. So I'm quite confident to say that the engineers that I have worked with and the work that we have done so far on the engineers in the country has been really good. And I like the fact that they acted as fast as they did and specified what was required for us to keep the internet available to everybody in the country. So in terms of capacity building, I'm happy with the engineers in the country. However, I feel like we have a lot of work to do going forward, because there seems to be a need for more engineers. I will speak not only on UG-NOG, I also speak on the front of AFNOG and why AFNOG was created, and then hence the country NOGs. So why AFNOG was created is because in the beginning, in the early days, when the internet first came to Africa, and then when we eventually started to own our own resources as a continent, there was a need for us to be able to have us as Africans to be able to manage and own our own infrastructure as a continent. And for that reason, AFNOG was created to build for capacity building. And we have some of the best engineers, not only in Uganda, but some of the best engineers in the continent. And I'm very sure some of them are here with us to be able to manage and own our own infrastructure. And with time, that happened. It was taken very seriously. I think I was also told by some of the best engineers that went through AFNOG as well. And I also joined in as one of the instructors for AFNOG. And I thought, okay, we need to take this further into the country. And then I started UGNOG because I thought that we would go away and then we needed to have more people coming through and replace us. And so we started doing capacity building as well in order to make sure that this remains like it had started. Now, I feel like some of the ISPs now do not see the value of capacity building for our engineers in order to maintain our internet infrastructure as a country and also as a continent. I don't know about the other regions, but from my observation, it's not been taken as seriously as it used to be in the past when we finally had our own resources to manage. We are trying as UGNOG to make this get better, to make this grow. But if I speak on the engineers that have handled the current situation that we've had, they've handled this very, very well and very gracefully. I mean, a cable cut, a sea cable cut is something that you don't take lightly. And to be able to sort this out within 5 days is something that I would applaud them on. So that's my take.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you very much. Really looking at time. Apologies, I need to rush on. I just want to quickly go to Jack and to ask about the Lebanon crisis. We know it's heavily impacted the country's internet and infrastructure. Can you just in a minute or two tell us what role you were able to play in protecting the internet from your point of view? Thank you.
Yes.
2 minutes, please. Thank you.
Unfortunately, we can't do much on the infrastructure level because of the monopoly of the government to provide connectivity and telecom. But what we can do and what we've done is on top of that. The first thing is that the Internet Society Lebanon chapter now is managing the .lbcctld, so that every domain names registry. I'll spare you of the details. If anyone, I just put in the chat the report of Ayana about how the redelegation happened, so you can look at it. It's in the chat. But the lessons learned from this transition is that, one, we learned from other chapters how to do it. So we consulted other chapters running the local domain names, especially for us, we benefit a lot from the Armenian experience because our model is like their model. This is the first thing. The second thing is that this couldn't be done without funding the project from the Internet Society Foundation. So two lessons here is communication between chapters. You can learn a lot. Two, ISOC Foundation, which is I think very, very helpful in specific things and difficult times. Also, we have another project with the ISOC Foundation is to support and enhance the internet exchange point in Lebanon. We already started, and we have managed to, through the foundation, to provide some batteries for the electricity continuity for the exchange point. Also, we had in 2020, we had a large explosion in Beirut, in the Beirut port, and a large area of the city was heavily impacted. And we managed through ISOC Foundation to provide laptops and tablets to the students of the schools impacted within the area of the explosion.
Thank you.
Otherwise, because of the all of us in the in Internet Society, we are advocates of multi-stakeholderism. We are Lebanon chapter. We are very, very active in supporting the local IGF. So we call it Lebanon IGF, Lebanon Internet Governance Forum, and we are active, very, very active in this, in letting this event happen. And also we're active in the regional IGF, and I think we're gonna participate in the global IGF.
Thank you, Jackie. I would have to stop you here. Apologies, so that I can move on to Abdurrahman. We just have about a minute left for the panel. So Abdurrahman, please, as an Internet Society Fellow, you worked on an Internet Shutdown Circumvention Guide. Did you apply any of the proposed methods? And how can this help in finding solutions? Just quickly, please. Thank you. And apologies again for rushing you on. We're just out of time.
Okay, thank you, Alfanka. Actually, yes, indeed, we tried to apply some of these techniques, not only in Yemen, but some of these techniques are already used since a long time ago in the region. And as we know, there are kinds of internet shutdowns. The people in our region familiar to use, for example, VPN and proxy application to bypass the internet blockage. But also, for example, we have in Yemen internet satellite services called Click. Also, the Starlink satellite services entered the market recently, especially in some places. It's not illegal in all places. And for example, in Sudan, also they use these Starlink services to connect to the internet. In Gaza, we saw how the people in Gaza use some of these techniques like the eSIM chip cards or the international roaming services. But let me, Alfanka, just to mention two important things in this regard. The first one, that the circumvention tools considered as a temporary temporary solutions to be used in critical issues or critical situation like the war or natural disaster. But it's not the optimal solution. The optimal solution should come from the collaboration between all stakeholders. They have to sit together on the table to discuss their fears and concerns and find a common ground to come up with kind of consensus or agreed solution that satisfy all parties. This is in my opinion the best solution for and it takes a long-term efforts. The second thing that to be honest, we did not try to promote our circumvention guides because some of these methods considers illegal in most of the countries in the region. So, or at least they will be considered against the Internet Service Agreement or against the government's regulations. So the one who can use these techniques could be accused by the government to be committing a crime. So we do not encourage people. We just try to inform people, to make them aware about these techniques, to equip the most affected stakeholders about this technique, but they are responsible to decide whether they have to use it or they can't use it or not. They have to put these consequences under consideration before using this technique.
Thank you very much, Abdurrahman.
Thank you.
We are at time. I want to thank all the panelists and my co-moderator, Caleb, for your time and effort and contributions, and also for all your responses. I know that the audience would have questions, so I'll please ask that you share in the chat any questions you have for the panelists, and I can see Obina and others already responding. So please, if you have questions, we don't have time to take them here, put them in the chat. And also, as members of the audience would like to hear from you, from your chapter or community. What are you doing to strengthen the internet resilience in your country? Please put that in the chat so that we can have a more engaging conversation. And I'll pass it over now to Hannah, who will take us through the time to act session. Over to you, Hannah. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So it's great actually seeing a lot of this internet resilience and what does it mean to different people. What I want to talk to you about today is how we at the Internet Society look at the internet resilience and how we calculate it, and try to showcase some of the country reports we have. I have selected just 3 countries to look at, and from there, how we can use the tools that the Internet Society Pulse provides in our work, our advocacy towards better internet. I'll be basing the information on the platform Internet Society Pulse, which was launched in 2020, late 2020. The goal of it is to curate measurement data from different sources to help everyone gain deeper data-driven insights into the internet. There are 4 areas focused at the moment. We can classify them as the first one that looks at health and resilience on the internet, including the concentration, enabling technologies of the internet, country reports, and internet resilience should be added here. The second category is the internet shutdowns, where we do have a tracker for internet shutdowns or artificial internet limitations specifically. And we provide a tool to actually calculate the economic impact of disruptions to internet access. For the health of the internet, we track data at several levels. As I said before, the implementation for enabling technologies, the concentration of services, and the country reports, as well as the Internet Resilience Index, which is the focus of our work today. But I also want to mention that there are other areas of focus that are coming soon, including Internet Exchange Point Dashboard, which tracks historical information and data about IXPs, the Pulse 5050, which tracks the traffic that is kept local, as well as additional enhancements to what's available now, including the ability to go back in time and see historical data. We will also launch a new and improved API. For the internet resilience, it's built over 4 pillars. And it's great to see that almost everything that you have mentioned and what internet resilience means to you and how you measure it when you were asked how do you see the internet resilience in your country is already captured within the Internet Resilience Index. We look at the infrastructure, including the existence and availability of physical infrastructure that provides internet connectivity. We look at the performance of that infrastructure and the service, the ability of the network to provide end users with seamless and reliable access to the internet. We look at the security of the network, the ability of the network to resist intentional or unintentional disruptions. And we look at the market readiness, which is more related to the market structure, the local regulations, and the ability of the market to self-regulate and provide good level of competition that result in affordable prices to end user. This is how the country reports, for example, look like. I've selected Nigeria to start with. It incorporates data from different parts, including internet use and the internet resilience index score, comparing it with other countries and many, many different aspects. I am also including here another country, Lebanon. As you can see, it's also similarly in terms of what data is there, but we can see very quickly that in Lebanon, we can see that the internet resilience score for the country is at 38%, and it ranks 41st regionally. And we can see that the average for Asia is 46%. So it is not very far from the average, but still the ranking is not great. Back to Nigeria, if we looked at it, it's at 30% in terms of the internet resilience score, and it's but compared to the regional average of 35%. Another country is Sudan. For example, another country report from there, we can see that it is at 28%. So it's lurking behind Nigeria in that regard. What I will do now is I will dig into that internet resilience score for Sudan and see what does it mean and how these numbers were calculated very quickly and how we can derive actions from these numbers. If we looked at the internet resilience report, which also you can easily access it from the resilience tab on the Pulse platform, you can see again the description and how it is measured based on the 4 pillars. And then you will start seeing the results for Sudan. We can see here that at the infrastructure level, it's at 19%, performance 20%, and so on. And the result of these comes up with the total score of 28%. Now, having a direct number allows us to easily compare between countries, but also having the ability to drill down into these numbers and see the components that that contributed to that calculation is also very, very helpful for us to deriving actions and areas where we can actually work to enhance the overall resilience of the internet. If we looked at Sudan as an example, just very quick look at the report page, you can quickly see that there are some issues with performance. In particular, if you looked at the fixed download and fixed upload are very, very low compared to what is expected and what can be considered as good for the user experience. If we try to look at the reasons, we can see that the infrastructure, the enabling infrastructure is very, very low. So we can deduce very quickly that this is an area that needs work on. This is an area where we need to focus our projects on as much as possible. If we try to look deeper a little bit on what areas that needs to be developed and enhanced even further, we can see that the cable ecosystem by itself is not great. We understand that the geography of Sudan is very complicated, and that Sudan by itself as a country is vast, but still, even small engagements in different areas would help greatly with these numbers. Now, if we looked at the other aspects as well, and these aspects, I would say the security and market readiness, we can work more on advocacy on. The previous aspects would need investment in infrastructure and projects on the ground. The security and market readiness aspects, we can work on advocacy initiatives that may also help.
Hannah, I just want to remind you that we are running out of time.
Yes, I have just 2 more minutes. I need just 2 more minutes for that. Yeah. So in terms of the security, for example, now the Sudan chapter, because it runs the CCTLD, can very quickly enhance the score of the domain name system security by implementing DNSSEC, for example, in terms of validation and enabling it on the .sd CCTLD. We can see that there is huge gap with the enabling technologies, almost non-existent. So this, again, can be targeted with advocacy work. So I will stop here. There are a lot of more areas where we can use in the Internet Society Pulse. But if you have any questions, please reach out. You can subscribe to our newsletter. You can also review the Pulse Internet Resilience Index methodology here. You can also contribute and reach out to us at pulse@isoc.org. So yeah, thank you very much. And I'll try to answer any questions if you have on the Q&A tab.
Thank you so much, Hannah. And now we will go to Olufunke, who will share with us an important message about how can we work together to raise essential funding needed for the important work that we have been discussing today. Olufunke, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ahmed, and hello, everyone. I'm not sure if we've all seen the Run the Internet fundraiser that's been all over the internet. I would like to encourage us all to be part of it. Nothing is too small. We need all the resources and all the partnerships, all the collaboration we can get to keep the internet free and secure for everyone. And as we've heard today, the Internet Society community is working together with the Internet Society in many ways. And because together we are stronger. And there are many challenges impacting communities across our region today. We've heard from the panelists, internet shutdowns here and there, cut cables, and power issues. However, we know the internet is a great equalizer because it gives people more opportunities to lead healthy and fulfilling lives, from the third world country to the first world country to the developed or the developing. A safe, secure, and resilient internet access is critical to ensure that the internet can be a sound infrastructure and transformative resource for years to come. So there is more work to be done for you, for me, and for every one of us. This is truly a pivotal moment where we have the opportunity as a community together to ensure that the internet can indeed be a resource to enrich people's lives and be a force for good in society. We need your help to continue to expand the Internet Society's global network of donors to secure funding for our shared vision of an internet that is resilient, that is accessible, and a force for good. There is a QR code for donation on your screen. I hope it comes up now, and a link on the chat. Please consider making a donation yourself, whether monthly or annually or one-off, or share your My Region Connect story to celebrate the connections that power your region and can inspire others to give. And as you copy the QR code, please also share it on all your social media platforms so that we can continue to get more people to give to an internet that is a force for good, that is accessible, that is resilient. And yes, let's run the internet together. Thank you. Back to you, Ahmed.
Thank you, Olufunke, for that important message. It truly takes a community to defend the internet, and all of us have a part to play. So I'm going to give a scenario. I'm going to do a very short activity. No matter where you are right now, unless of course you are driving, I'd like you to close your eyes for a minute. So no cheating, close your eyes, 10 seconds. And imagine that you woke up and there's internet outage in your country. Now, imagine that you cannot connect with each other. You can't make phone calls, you can't reach anybody. And finally, imagine that there's no power. So there's power outage, total blackout in your country. How would you feel? What would be your response? And what would be the first thing you would do? This is a rhetorical question to let you know that it is important that we all contribute our quota to ensure that the internet is accessible, open, and resilient for us all. Thank you, Olufunke, for encouraging us, to contribute to the foundation. And thank you all for being such a great audience and for joining us today. It has been an enlightening and fun and educative session. I would like to remind you to stay on the call to join the meeting with the Internet Society Board of Trustees and participate in the discussion on our 2030 strategy. Thank you once again. It has been exciting being your co-host. Over to you, Ahmed.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for participating today. We really value your feedback, and please respond to the survey, which will be in the chat right now. It will just take a few minutes, but it's very important for us to know your feedback. Thank you, and hope you all have a nice day.
Thank you.
And please do not forget to join the next session.
Yes, thank you, everyone. So just switch the session. So as you exit, you can just click to join our next session. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.